All right, welcome back to the next lesson for ancient Rome, or on ancient Rome. So, in the last lesson, I hope it was understood. I felt like I was rambling a bit in that one. And it would probably be one of those things where I was like, okay, I probably should have written out a script for that one. But I hope, again, the basic idea of the last video was that Rome is basically starting to crumble from the inside out. You know, those foundations of its power and prosperity, in essence, are pretty much gone, and it's just kind of holding on by its teeth. But they still have things happening for them that just keep them around and keep them going for like that next 50 years. And we'll talk about a few of those in this video. One of the biggest things that happens to Rome is under the reign of a guy named Constantine. You know, under him, you get some major changes, two specifically, but some just major changes to the Roman Empire. First off, Constantine brings peace after tons of civil wars. By the way, we had that lesson earlier about civil wars like that led to the end of the Republic. Well, let's just put it this way. In the 200s into the 300s AD of the Roman Empire, every year there's a civil war. It's just like there's just constant civil war. Like Rome should have really ended at that point. The fact that it endures past that is actually really impressive. That Rome makes it past like 280 AD type thing. But I am roughshotting over Diocletian. I'll talk about him maybe a little bit later, major character, but I'm going straight into this guy named Constantine right now. Mainly because what he does to the Roman Empire sets the stage for basically the next 200 years of Rome's existence. Well, 170 really. So, first off, he makes Christianity the official religion of Rome. Like really, during the reigns of the emperors just before him, those emperors, including a guy named Diocletian, they persecuted Christians very severely. Like it was bad. And all of a sudden, Constantine just upends that and says, no, Christianity is really going to be the official religion now. He doesn't do this like, I say this because now it's going to happen. But he did a lot of things where it happened. And even has a lot of things in place where he wins a battle. Oh, God, I'm already forgetting the name of the battle. The Battle of the something bridge. I think it starts with an L. Where he wins this battle. Seems like he shouldn't have. And one of the reasons he says he won that battle is because he saw this sign in the sky. And that's why I have that picture there of this cross. And then he heard this voice saying, under this sign ye shall conquer. And under the sign of the Christian cross, that is. So, and he wins a lot of other battles, and he's able to kind of just bring peace and stability back to the empire. But if you kind of look at this more from kind of just a realistic way, there's a ton of Christians in the empire at this point. A lot of Christians are in the empire at this point, so much so that you're starting to get this feel if you can't beat them, you join them type thing. And it seems a bit like that's what Constantine does. Is like, well, instead of persecuting these people, why don't I just bring them into the fold of Rome? Why don't I just make them feel more Roman and just say, hey, you're definitely part of Rome now. You are Romans. And so Christianity is made official. Now, when I say official, it goes from basically, what he does basically is it's accepted. He makes laws that protects it, to then over time laws that make it more like it's a better religion than all the others. It's a more acceptable religion than all the others. He allows for the other religions that are now called pagan religions, like the religions of the Roman gods and the Greek gods and Egyptian gods, to still be there. They're okay there. But all of a sudden these laws start coming into place that, in a way, these laws persecute any other religions and then favors Christianity. So, again, if you want to know more about that, look into it. But Christianity basically is made the official religion of Rome at this point, under Constantine. Also something that Constantine does, it wasn't really done by him, but he definitely it solidifies under him, is that Rome was really seen in two different spheres. And he himself is saying like, all right, there's the Roman sphere, where Rome is kind of like the main city, and then there's the Greek sphere. And he decides, I'm going to build a new capital in what I think is a much better area for both defense and trade, especially in the eastern part of the empire. And so he creates a new city, builds it on top of an old Greek city called Byzantium, and names it after himself and calls it Constantinople. By the way, becoming one of arguably the most important city for the next 1,000 years of human history until it gets run over by the Ottoman Turks in 1453 AD. So basically from its inception around early 300s AD until its destruction or change into the city of Istanbul in 1453 AD, Constantinople is arguably one of the most important cities ever. So, basically, well, I'm not going to go into too much, but that's a major thing he does. He transfers, of the two big things he does, he makes Christianity the official religion of Rome, then he transfers the center of power to a city that's not Rome itself. And so this is where you're getting the idea of well, this is the Roman Empire, but it's not even centered in Rome anymore. What is Rome? Well, that's just the idea. Rome is viewed as this idea. You belong to this political entity. Yes, Rome may be the eternal city, but it's losing its importance at this point. So those are the two of the big things that Constantine does. Now, to explain this better on this idea of two Romes, actually one of the emperors before Constantine was one of the first people that actually did divide the empire into two. And you heard we had this Eastern Rome versus Western Rome. Constantine actually brings the two together and makes Constantinople more of the official capital city of Rome. But after him, it kind of splits apart again. Even under his two sons, it splits apart again, where you have the western half of Rome versus the eastern half of Rome. Constantinople remains the undisputed capital of Eastern Rome, where Rome does basically become the indisputed capital of Western Rome. Although in many cases, the emperors of Western Rome wouldn't even live there. They would live up in places like Trier. I think, it says Trier up there on the map. That because it's right on the frontier, you're kind of guarding against those barbarians on the other side. So you kind of get this split over time. It's one empire, but not until you get to a guy named Theodosius. And you notice in the years there, so you see the first kind of split under Diocletian 284 AD. Constantine, by the way, is in early 300s. Then you get to about 390 AD with a guy named Theodosius, who really is kind of he starts the last and final Roman dynasty, by the way, the Theodosian dynasty. And under him, he just permanently splits the empire, where forever after, it's just called the Eastern Empire and the Western Empire. The Eastern Empire at Constantinople and the Western Empire in Rome. So, and when we talk about the end of Rome too, which I'm going to get into in the following videos, I think I might be able to get through just one or two more videos here and we'll be done with Rome. But, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, that's what I was getting at. When we talk about the fall of the Roman Empire, we usually talk about 476 AD when Rome is conquered itself. The city of Rome is conquered itself. But because Rome is two empires, that just makes the Western Roman Empire fall. The Eastern Roman Empire actually lasts for another 1,000 years until 1453 AD when the Ottoman Turks finally conquer it, basically. And history's renamed the Eastern Roman Empire. They call it the Byzantine Empire. But arguably, you could argue that if Rome is an idea, it wasn't just based on the city of Rome like it was in the beginning, that the Romans really kind of lasted as a political entity for almost 2,000 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. But at least for the purposes of this unit or this lesson on Rome, we're going to be viewing the fall of Rome itself, and the Western Roman Empire really is like the fall of the Roman Empire. And you can also argue that the Eastern Roman Empire, there's so many things different about it that just calling yourself Roman doesn't mean you're just like those early Romans. So, anyways, I'll leave this lesson at this point just talking about just these major changes to the Roman Empire, and then we'll talk about the barbarian invasions and things like that in the next lesson.